Welcome, seekers of the unknown, as we pull back the veil between the living and beyond. Unraveling questions that plague our minds, and oftentimes presenting the evidence that may prove them true. Let us take you on a journey where paranormal becomes normal, and where what is right behind you just might be echoes of the afterlife or something more. But fair warning, once you step into the supernatural with us, you might just stay haunted.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the end of Thanksgiving. Stay haunted.
I know, right?
Hello, happy Thanksgiving.
What's happening here?
Welcome to Stay Haunted.
Yes.
Mr. Chris, we know you're a little under the weather.
Under the wind.
So we had to update everybody. My son, his wife, and our 3-year-old grandbaby came in for the week. That's why we weren't on the show last Monday, because their flight landed Monday evening. And we had a great time and a great Thanksgiving, but they also brought... Oh, sorry, guys. There's a car sliding down the road. They also brought bacteria with them. So for the first time in probably 4 years, Chris is sick.
With a cold.
With a cold. So that's the first time. And it's my fault. They were getting sick. And I said, I haven't been sick since COVID. Knock on wood. I don't get sick. Knock on wood. Pow. Smack me in the face.
The kiss of you know what when you say that.
Yep.
But it was really fun. We had the kids were here. We hadn't seen them in a little over a year. I talked to my son every day, but we hadn't seen the baby in a little over a year. The last time they came visit us was in North Carolina. So this is the first time they were at our.
Hello.
This was the first time they were at our home in Ohio. And ironically enough, the first time they're in our home in Ohio, we get 4 to 6 inches of snow. Is that acceptable?
That's acceptable.
That's acceptable.
So I did post some pictures of them playing in the snow, and we're getting another 2 to 3 inches right now as we speak. That's why I went, sorry, guys, because the road's right outside my window, and I was watching a Tesla slide down the road. See, that's why you should buy American. I didn't see no Chevy sliding or Toyota sliding down the road. All I saw was a Tesla sliding down the road. But it was a good time.
So hello to everybody in chat and Mr. Everett.
Hope everybody
and MJB.
Their screen.
So there is an issue. Like I'm on my phone and we can barely see on our phone. So if people are watching on the phone, I don't know. We talked about when we came in. You know how that vertical.
YouTube looked perfect.
Did it? Okay. On my phone, it's
Not mine.
on our phone. We're like kind of you like see half of our faces on the phone.
No.
On
Let me
mobile.
show you.
Look, see, this is what we see. I don't know if you can see it.
See how it's kind of like funky.
Side by side.
This is what YouTube looks like.
All right. So maybe it's just a mobile thing.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, it
It's
might be
not mobile.
Is your phone sideways?
No, it was vertical.
Well, that time it was, but now it's not. It's still. Well, I don't know.
Well,
No.
that's him showing
that's showing.
it'll
Yeah.
come back to
Listen,
us
I
in
don't
the
need to
middle.
look. We're fine.
yeah.
Carry on.
So, but so you had a nice celebration with the family, Thanksgiving / Christmas. So
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
Last 2 or 3 days we had more plans, but we didn't get to execute those plans. We did get to go watch Ohio State beat Michigan.
Thank God.
what is it? Oh, H.
Oh.
And my son got to experience Ohio fanery, and that's what we call it here, Ohio fanery, for the first time. Because when they called the game and the game was over and Ohio had won, I yelled out through the whole bar, OH, and guess what the whole bar did? Oh.
Nice.
And my son was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, that's for real, dude.
That's real.
So
Hmm.
it We haven't beaten Michigan. So for everybody that doesn't know Ohio and Michigan, that is like the #1 rivalry in the nation every Thanksgiving. And we haven't beat Michigan since 2019.
I think they said 4 years, right?
Yeah, since 2000. We should have beat them last year, but for some reason we coughed up a nut and couldn't beat them for some reason. But
It happens.
Yeah.
And
But
you
they
guys
did-
had a lovely Thanksgiving.
How about your Thanksgiving?
Well, we were with people, 9 children, all 5 and under.
I didn't even know you were pregnant.
No. My nieces were all here, and they had all their kids. It was quiet because we only stayed at my sister's for once. I think this was the first year we ever did something like that. Part of Todd's family went to Ohio, but we stayed back.
Yeah. So we ended up, and then on Saturday we ended up. Well, Friday we recouped. I don't think we did anything on Friday. Saturday during the day, nothing, and then Saturday night we went out to. We were out. It's in Columbia, PA. We went a couple of weeks ago for the opening of the Keystone Artisan Works. They're opening. They were hosting some doing investigations, and then they also do escape rooms and stuff like escape room, hatchet throwing, fun stuff. So we went out. Frankie, we went up going out with Frankie and had a nice little time, and then we did some escape room. We did hatchet throwing, and then we did an investigation on Saturday. So
Wow.
I'll let you give her props on
Escaping the room.
escaping the room. Horrible with clues and never had done that before. I think you did it one time before.
Yeah,
an
but I was
escape
also
room.
with 11 women, so I just
Yeah.
sat back and watched because there was no talking to 11 women.
It was a jail theme. We started handcuffed in a jail cell, and then you kind of had to
doesn't
do
sound good,
teamwork and stuff, and we
Teamwork.
worked through it.
Teamwork. I just like Charlie. He came in, he looked at me, he goes, "I don't know how you got that clue, but you just skipped 3 steps."
Yeah.
Because I don't know what you did, but you have all the numbers written right there. We could have been done 20 minutes ago if
Hang on.
here.
You and Todd started handcuffed in a jail cell with 11
And Frankie.
And Frankie.
and Frankie and 11 other women.
No, she
No, that was a different
That was
time.
a different time.
Well, no,
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't know why Todd couldn't get out. He wasn't trying.
no, not those 11 women.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I figured it out. We would have been out 20 minutes earlier, but some people fumble with locks
Right.
and don't listen to what I'm saying. And he kept putting on the screen, "She has the numbers. She has the numbers."
So the funny part is, they would give you little hints if, need be or whatever. And Sean, the owner, he's outside on a computer and there's like a little TV screen. And then you can kind of hear a little message where it's like, all right, we're in the other room. And I'm like, I'm going out. And then he's like, we're doing different things. He gives us a clue. We figure it out. And then something funny happened. And then I'm saying, we're making comments. He hears us because everything is, he can hear in the room, even though he's outside. And then you hear, doo-doo-doo, and then we come, I look and we all look and it says LOL, he's laughing, sending us little messages.
He was videoing it with his phone, different parts. And
Yeah.
he's like, I'm sending this out on Facebook.
It was,
all these
like a highlight reel. Funny
reel,
bloopers of us trying to escape from this
And
escape.
he's
All
like,
you get these highlight reels is Frankie and Todd running around like chickens with their head cut off, and Carmela
Yeah.
said,
and here I am like this, just having a drink. It's fine. I'll tell you again, you're spelling the word wrong. And they're like, "No, we're not. It's fine." I'm like, "Okay. Let me know when you figure it out." And then at 3 seconds, I said, "We have 3 seconds to figure this out."
And we did it.
And we did it.
We got out in 3 seconds left to go.
Wow.
So
thanks to Carmela.
thanks to Carmela.
Okay.
She's like,
Yeah.
"Man, she had the numbers. You don't listen. You really don't listen." And I don't know. I always read like the first paragraph and the last paragraph, but nothing in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's how I figure out the numbers.
She speaks.
I
And
do.
then Sunday was just relaxation.
Nice.
Sunday you cut up deer.
Oh, Sunday I cut up deer. Yeah, Robbie last week harvested his first deer. So we did a little bit of that harvesting and
I was not
butchering
included in that.
on Sunday. Yeah. So,
venison sausage.
Oh, they got the grinder out. They were doing all
made
that.
some ground beef and fun stuff like that. So back to that was our weekend, and now we have a wonderful Monday evening guest.
We do. This is not only somebody that was on our last podcast, but Todd and Carmela are good friends with him. We're good friends with him. This gentleman is one of the smartest paranormal researchers that you will find. He's got a really cool system that we're going to talk about tonight, guys. We have Anthony Maniacal Tricycle. I did that without messing it up. That's the first time. He's an anomalous phenomenon researcher and investigator. Anthony Maniacal Tricycle. I'm going to do it twice. Look at that, too. Over 20 years of law enforcement experience. His interest in the paranormal included building tech, exploring intuition, and utilizing the Maniacal Tricycle experience grading system. Say that 3 times fast, y'all. MEGS, which was designed to present findings from investigations of private clients that may be skeptics, believers, and everything in between. Join us right now and say hello to Anthony.
Hello, Anthony.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, I forgot about
I got him now.
Yeah.
Hey, Anthony, how you doing?
I'm good, Chris. Don't feel so bad because my actual name is just as hard as Maniacal Tricycle. But yeah. So what are we talking about?
So tell everybody first, how did somebody, and this is near and dear to my heart because I won't say I was in law enforcement. I was a part-time cop, but still. How did somebody in law enforcement get so involved? Because I've had people ask me this, somebody with a law enforcement mindset. How did you get involved in the paranormal?
So I actually was interested in the paranormal prior to getting into law enforcement. The funny thing is I kind of put it aside just because it's such an intensive career that, you really don't have time for it. But I think a lot of it has to do with just the investigative aspect, having a puzzle in front of you, trying to find solutions and just trying to figure stuff out. And I think that the fun thing with the paranormal is no one's an expert. No one has all the answers. So we could just keep digging, keep asking questions. And I love you, Ron. and we could just keep exploring possibilities, it's so open-ended that we could just keep throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks and see where it goes.
Awesome.
Agreed.
So
you say you were interested. Sorry, Todd. You say you were interested prior to law enforcement. What got you interested prior to law enforcement in the paranormal? Was it an experience?
I think I think a big part of it was probably me getting into horror movies when I was way too young. And I always liked scary things and things like that, like I saw like A Nightmare on Elm Street when I was like 5 or 6.
Wow.
Hey, now you're old. Thanks, Anthony.
Same.
Yeah. But like growing up like a kid in the 80s, we had like cool spooky things. Like I grew up watching like The Dark Crystal and stuff like that. So I liked all the scary spooky stuff. And one thing that really stuck with me though was that, and I didn't really put 2 and 2 together until much later on, is I would go to certain places, like, whether it's like, new houses or wherever it might be. And there were just places where I was uncomfortable being in. And it was just like, I shouldn't be here. Like it was, and it was just this sort of intuitive thing. And again, I didn't really put 2 and 2 together until much later when I learned that like investigating the paranormal was a thing. And I was like, wait, maybe I'm kind of picking up or sensing something that other people aren't. And maybe that has something to do with it.
Awesome. What were we going to ask?
I'm sorry?
So the concept, the whole concept with your with MEGS, where did that kind of come from? Was that just obviously tell our guests what MEGS stands for, how you came up with the name, and then the idea behind the trying to log, to keep track of activity experiences that people have on investigations.
Yeah. So originally, like MEGS now stands for the Maniacal Tricycle experience grading system. It used to be evidence grading system. And then I really got into thinking about, like, you know, the meaning behind the word evidence, and having that career in law enforcement. I came to the conclusion, and people don't have to agree with me with this. That's fine. This is not an absolute thing. I'm not a big fan of the word evidence in terms of the paranormal, because I believe that in order to have evidence, you need to have a well fleshed out theory instead of sort of a very simple go-to of it's a spirit. You know, if it's something, if I don't have that fleshed out theory, then to me it's not evidence. It's just observations. I don't have that conclusion to have the evidence to support it. That's kind of why I switched from evidence to experience, because it's still the same letters, just a little different. And then I thought about, well, how would I have a conversation with someone regarding paranormal experiences who doesn't necessarily believe in the paranormal? You know, so we have to focus on what are these concrete things that we can look at and we can bring up, whether it's my own personal experience, where it's me relaying a story or my experience, or whether it's video or whether it's audio. And it's not necessarily being so definitive in what I'm discussing. And what I mean by that is I wouldn't be speaking in absolutes. Like if I have an EVP session and an EVP comes over and it sounds like the name Carmela, I'm saying just that. It sounds like Carmela. If I were to play that EVP to someone else, then they might not hear Carmela. They might hear Vanilla.
Right.
But at least then I could say, this is what it sounds like to me. You can argue otherwise. And then I started thinking, all right, well, what if we ask a question now? Now the question provides context. So I say, if I were to do that same EVP session, say, what's this lady's name next to me? And it happens to be Carmela. And I hear something that sounds like Carmela or Vanilla or whatever it might be. Now I have some context to that response. And if I were to put all that together and present that to someone who doesn't necessarily believe in the paranormal, I could say, this is what I have. You can agree or disagree, but at least then you can see my side of it. And I'm not telling you it is a ghost or a spirit or whatever it might be. This is just what it is.
Right. Yeah.
So you've heard us talk about timing, relevance, and intelligence before, right?
No, never.
No, we've never talked about that. So basically, what you've done is you've taken something that we've captured that we believe or we understand is paranormal, and you grade it based on timing, relevance, and intelligence.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, I mean, I can present all these things like I just discussed it with you guys, but at the end of the day, people also like numbers. They like concrete numbers. So if I say, hey, here's this video or here's this EVP recording of me asking a question, getting something that sounds like a reply, that's 2 points. So someone can immediately realize, oh, well, if that gets 2 points and then this other one that I play for you next only gets 1 point, you already know that one holds more value. 2 points hold more value than one.
Right. And we've started to incorporate using your system, you know, since we've gotten to know you and work with you on investigations and stuff like that. So it's like anything else, right? It's about doing the work. It's putting in the time, energy, and effort to write, you know, to keep track and just not that it's proving or disproving, you know, paranormal activity. It's just, hey, like you said, it's some type of way to record and keep track of, you know,
you're documenting observations. And it's funny because I'm not sure, like, this current little project is in limbo, but we were setting up that whole proposal for Rutgers University to do some research at one of their locations.
Right.
And when we were discussing this with one of the professors, we couldn't necessarily say it's scientific research, right? Because there's very little scientific about what we do in the paranormal if we were to present it in an academic setting. You know, I can't just say, oh, this is a REM pod going off. This is a scientific experiment. There's a little bit more to it, you know. But outside of scientific research, there's also observational research, which is fits more into what we do. And when I was discussing, or when Frankie and I were discussing MEGS with a few people involved in the observational research field, they loved it because it was a way to collect data that you could actually keep track of. You can assign a score, and people can actually acknowledge it as, hey, this is something concrete now.
Right.
Without saying this is a ghost, this is a spirit, or this is paranormal. It's just, this is what we have documented. There it is.
Well,
Makes a lot of sense. And I think it's phenomenal because, sorry guys,
You're good.
you take something that everybody wants. How can you prove that it's paranormal, especially with the scientific community? They're always, what is the science is based behind you proving that this is paranormal? Well,
Right.
if we can't give them, E equals MC squares produces a ghost, right? And
Right.
I was trying to be funny there. Hope it was a bad. If we can't do that to prove to these people that have the analytical mindset that this is paranormal, what's the best way to do it? Provide them with data, repeatable data, constant repeatable data. When you have constant repeatable data, the people with the analytical mindset that would be skeptical to the paranormal will start, they'll start relating with that, and it'll start making sense to them.
Right. And that's what it was. Because again, a lot of it started with me having conversations with people who don't believe in the paranormal. And I mean, first things first, if you try to engage someone in conversation who is kind of opposed to your own opinions, you kind of want to avoid convincing them, right? But you could say, hey, this is what I have. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to say it's paranormal, but this is what I have. And that's kind of indisputable at that point.
So one of the things about the, using the term observational. So I know, with friends of ours, Ron and Lourdes, and their research with TDSE, part of their presentation and when they talk and do presentations at events is one of the things with their philosophy, analytic idealism, is observational science. Basically, that's what we're doing, right? So they talk about observational sciences of astronomy, right? There's if you're an archaeologist, right, you're going into the field. I forget his example that he used, but if you're a zoologist, say, like you're going into the field to see their animal in the natural,
right,
natural environment. So that's observational. So that's in a sense what we do, what we are doing as paranormal investigators, right?
Right. And you got to remember, like when it comes to the paranormal, the phrase itself, paranormal is phenomena that can't be explained by science. So why are we going to try to pack that into a scientific box when we don't necessarily have to?
Right.
So I got to ask, how diligent are you about after investigation and applying and sitting down, and because it's time consuming to sit down
It
and
is.
whether it's audio or video, to actually sit down and put it to paper, so to speak, as far as doing that,
So I do try to get pretty diligent about it. I was more diligent than I am now, just because a 6-hour investigation with 3 cameras turns into 18 hours of footage.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And 18 hours of audio and
So
crazy stuff.
Usually at this point, I'll have my body camera running, and I'll make mental notes, or I'll write down on my phone or on a notepad when something interesting occurs. And at that point, that's when I'll really do it. That's when I'll really run everything through any sort of scoring, just because the review takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And
Sure.
am I missing stuff? Probably. I probably am. But at the same time, I also feel like if it's something that I acknowledge in the moment, then that already gives me that sort of context, like asking a question and getting a response that kind of makes it a more worthwhile piece, a more worthwhile observation that has a higher score to note, as opposed to Like, let's say if I've got my body camera running and I go through all my footage and I see something like an orb going through that. According to MEGS, that would just be 1 point because it's not really a response to anything.
Right.
So yeah, I probably lose a lot of orb footage? Probably. But I also was able to retain a lot of really interesting footage that was like a dialogue, whether it be through EVP or Ghost Box communications, things like that.
Okay.
But that also what makes you not just a good researchers with the MEGS and databasing all that stuff, but that also makes you a great paranormal investigator too, because you'll see, and I've said this numerous times, like when Audra and I do review, we go through everything that we have, and if it's not an in your face,
right,
then I don't present it. Right. If you don't have a loud disembodied voice that nobody can explain, I don't present it. If it's not a Class A EVP that's loud and you can understand it, I don't present it. Anything that you have to enhance, we don't present it. But that's almost what you're doing when you're doing this. You're saying that you're missing evidence, but you might be missing evidence, but are you missing Class A evidence? You're not. You're capturing the Class A evidence and then you're grading it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's kind of like having that lower grade stuff where it's a little bit more ambiguous. Let's say that maybe if I didn't notice it, then maybe it's not worth presenting, just like you had said.
Right. Well, and it takes. So when you do that and you take the Class A observations or evidence, however you want to call it, right? If you take those Class A's and then you measure them with MEGS, you're eliminating the skepticism, right?
Right.
So if you take that Class B EVP that you have to bring out and, hey, it's a male's voice, I can't tell what he's saying. Well, then it's not a Class B, it's a Class C, right?
Right.
You start getting into that gray area, but what you're doing is you're taking those Class A's and then you're adding a step of Class A to it by giving it the MEGS.
Correct. Yeah, it's a little bit more validation than just what you see or hear on your own.
Right.
And I'll sit down and I'll actually do like a full breakdown as far as like some, because there are some EVPs. I feel like I've gotten maybe like 1 or 2 actual Class A EVPs, but that's why I avoid the absolutes. That's why I'll say, it sounds like this or it sounds like that. But I'll sit there and I'll actually make note of like maybe things that other people hear, because who knows, And at the same time, if you're asking a question, you're already kind of biased towards hearing an answer as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, like going back to the example before, who is this lady next to me? And I hear 3 syllables.
Right.
Carmel, 3 syllables. then hey, you know what? Oh, maybe that was Carmela. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just my Tala EVP. Which one?
Right.
Which one? Because most of I think most of the stuff I got from Tala was EVPs.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was basically the Tala EVPs. They did get a reasonable score because they were answers preceded by questions and seemed like they were directly relevant.
So we were on investigation at the Samuel Miller Mansion with Frankie, co-founder of, you are the co-founder. I bring part of whether or not we mentioned that in the beginning. You are co-founder with Frankie Adale of the Parasite Corporation. And you guys are doing some great work with the also the Neurovisor.
Yes.
So we've had some cool. Now, remember that EVP session we did in I think it was in the kids room, right? With the cookies.
Yes.
I mean, that was a wild EVP session.
Yes.
Like, how many questions were asked? I want to say there was 6 or 7 of us.
Yeah. There was and they were just rattling them off.
And we got responses, I think, with everybody. So
Pretty much,
I'm using that as an example because I was going to ask, what's the highest kind of points that you've ever, on a review have you accumulated? Like, what's the high, is it like 10, 20?
So are you talking about like for a total for an entire investigation, or for like maybe like a sitting session?
Yeah, I guess it could be. I guess you have to look at it from that aspect, whether it's for the entire investigation or just in. Yeah, I guess.
So
I guess maybe one experience or for a particular session. I guess.
Yeah.
You know.
So the best one that I've had, and this is going way back. I think it was the first time that we actually investigated the Ritz, the Ritz Theater, and we were in the rehearsal room, and it was myself, Shayna, and my friend Albert, and we were running a ghost box. I was doing something with a pendulum also, and if I wasn't getting replies to questions on the ghost box, I was getting them on the pendulum, and just going back and forth between the both of them. And I want to say that one was somewhere in the neighborhood of like a total of like 26.
Oh.
In that one session, just constantly asking questions, getting replies on both the ghost box and the pendulum,
right.
And getting replies from questions not just asked by me, but by my wife, by my friend Albert, and it went on for a good 20 minutes. You know, yeah, yeah, and I think that was and then you know, Ron and Lourdes came and they were doing TDSE in there, and that really just blew the doors wide open to ITC experimentation in there.
Right. So we were actually with Frankie on Saturday night, and as you know, and at the Keystone Artisan Works, and we actually had a pretty cool experience with timing and relevance. And so talk a little bit about on your scoring system. So we asked a question, and then Frankie asked a question. What the heck was it? It was.
You mean the year?
The year. He's like, what year are
you in?
What year are you in? And we got across, and I know people are skeptical of apps. It was on the Spirit Talker. We had the Phasma box going, and then we had the Spirit Talker. And now, listen, we weren't talking years or anything like that. It spit out 1860.
Oh, wow.
Like within 2 or 3 seconds of him asking that question. So that goes into the whole timing and the relevance aspect of, you know, whether apps are valid, you know, are they hearing and, you know, spitting out stuff. That's pretty, I mean, what are the odds of you asking that question and it spits out a, you know, specific year like that within a couple seconds?
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, so Cliff Notes for anyone who is not familiar with MEGS, which I'm sure there are quite a few viewers. So basically what it is any sort of, let's just say anomalous occurrence for now, because we don't, until we do further investigation, we don't know if it's paranormal, but any sort of anomalous occurrence would get a point. And if that occurrence is preceded by a question that seems to be a direct reply to that question, then it gets a second point. And it's that simple. And then you can sort of tally things up from there. So any question that gets answered is essentially 2 points, one for the question, one for the answer. So,
and then
with that said,
and I was sorry, and I went off a little bit on my, I got to focus sometimes. So
that's all right.
The original thought that I wanted to get to was talking about, so that on your MEGS form, it's broken into 2 basically empirical, or I think, right? Empirical or analytical, right?
Anecdotal.
That's what
anecdotal.
Talk a little bit about that, if you would.
Okay. So, and this goes back to like the whole law enforcement thing too in a bit. You know, as if you look at like any sort of like court proceedings or things like that, you have evidence, let's just say, and sometimes that you have your empirical evidence. That would be something considered like photos or video or things like that. So if I were to submit that to a court in front of a jury, they could see plain and simple what's happening and it's indisputable. Basically, the meaning of the word empirical, it's concrete. Yeah. Anecdotal is a little bit different because there's a little bit more wiggle room. So for anecdotal stuff, I refer to that as something that wasn't essentially recorded. It doesn't appear on media. Like there's no video of it. There's no photo of it. There's no audio of it. You have to go by someone's story, kind of like how you would a witness statement in a court proceeding. It still counts. It's still acknowledged, but you just don't have anything to back it up. So yeah, with that said, like anything that like is indisputable on any that and can be reviewed is empirical. Anything that is basically a story or an anecdote falls under anecdotal.
Okay. Very good. On investigations, do you find that any one particular investigation do you find that you seem to get more empirical or anecdotal kind of response?
Well, I mean, honestly, lately, I think it also depends on where I put my focus.
Okay.
You know, but for me, a lot of the time, unless I have my body camera running, the anecdotal stuff to me is more interesting. Just because, you know, you have situations where people feel things, people see things, or people hear things that aren't caught on camera. But that doesn't necessarily make it any less valid, right? That's the part of the paranormal experience. It's actually really interesting to me. You know, or there are just times where I forget to turn on my camera, or I'm not facing the right direction, or things like that. But I was still there to experience it. I still want to acknowledge it. I remember there was a good one that I had where I was at the 1890s house in upstate New York. We were with our friends Full Moon Paranormal, and myself and Lisa from Full Moon, we were walking up these steps, and we both heard a disembodied voice. Plain as day. We were like, both like, did you hear that? And like, yeah. If that was loud enough for both of us to hear, my body camera picked it up.
Right.
The one section of footage that was corrupted on that body camera was that disembodied voice.
Isn't that always the case?
But now, could that technically be considered empirical? Because now there's video dropping out of something that we acknowledged. I don't know. I mean, I think it's more anecdotal, but it's still really interesting, right?
Yeah, I mean that is, and we've had experiences where it's something, an observation is being observed.
I was just say we had that on that street.
On what?
When we were in Ohio, that the woods.
Oh yeah.
Holcomb Road. All of it. We had 3 different devices.
Right.
We couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
Lacey's here today, in case you're wondering. He's climbing on my lap.
And Lacey's here for our regular evening. Oh, hello, girl. Can I throw this?
Okay, now. That was not a good idea.
Sorry, I got her off the lap.
Okay.
There was that time that we were all at Tala, right? And I think it was like the first time we were trying to do like an EVP session in one of those smaller rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all finally able to get quiet enough, and we stopped and listened, and it sounded like there were people walking around in the hallways off in the distance. Yeah. It sounded like people were talking. Mm-hmm. My body camera didn't pick. I didn't actually. Yeah, I did have my body camera on. It didn't pick up any of that. Right. But we all collectively experienced it.
Right. We even had the camera in the hallway, and it didn't.
Yeah. I got to ask an important question about Tala when we were there. Listen. So with the bad experience, how would you grade would that be anecdotal or empirical? The little girl being attacked by a bat.
Wait, which time? When Jenny got attacked by the bat, or when we were in the stairwell getting attacked by the bat?
The same day.
In the stairwell, when I got trapped in the stairwell.
When we shut the door and let it
I won't point, but a certain somebody went the opposite direction. Somebody was being attacked by a bat in the hallway in the stairwell. Just saying. The police officer went the other way.
Hey, listen, I don't mess with rabies.
I know. He's like,
that would be empirical because there definitely was a bat.
There definitely was, and there was video footage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mary Beth has a question. Anthony, have you ever responded to a police call that ended up being something paranormal?
Oh, that's a good
question. You know, it's funny. I've been asked that question before, and it's one of those things where when I was at work handling calls like that, I kind of had to turn off that part of my mindset.
Right.
Just because if I leave myself open to thinking in terms of the paranormal, it's just they're two different worlds.
Right.
You know, I've been in places that have definitely felt where I've definitely felt things, but it wasn't something that I wanted to really acknowledge or explore further because there was a job to be done. You know, there was a job to be done. There were people who depended on me. It wasn't something where there weren't situations where I could say, hang on, this feels weird. Let me go see what that is.
Wait, I think there's a spirit here. Let me go check.
Go get your DR60.
Right. Let me get my digital voice recorder and see what's going on. You know,
nobody moves.
And I've told people this before too. When it comes to law enforcement, paranormal investigating, with me being sensitive, there are things I see and feel that don't apply
to the job,
to the law enforcement side. Law enforcement side is data and facts.
Yeah.
What can you physically prove in a court of law without a reasonable doubt?
Right.
That's where your mindset is on that. It's two complete different mindsets until you try to debunk something during a paranormal investigation.
Right. Right. So have I felt things? Yeah, but did I ever pursue it while I was working? No, because there was work to be done. There were people depending on me.
Right. Understandable.
And it's hard to put a ghost in jail.
Yes.
Getting them convicted is a bitch. It's
well, listen, getting them to show up to court first off is
right.
That's another thing.
Keeping them in the
Casper here, Mr. Casper, can you take a look?
Right.
Right.
Casper,
but yeah,
try to fingerprint that fucker. It ain't happening.
Yeah, they happen.
Listen, getting good fingerprints on the living is hard enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's funny.
What were you gonna say? I've heard of people calling because they hear someone on their house, but there's no one there.
I can see that happen. I mean, but what do you say? You go in, you say nobody's here. I mean, that's
you clear it and you tell them it's okay. Lock your doors.
Right.
Oh, good.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, listen. At the same time, I've also responded to situations where people have heard things and seen things, and then doing what I have to do, I have to ask them what kind of medication they might be on,
Right.
and any sort of diagnoses they might have had.
Right. When was the last time you touched that glass pipe on the table?
I wasn't going to go there.
You know, Chris had no filters. He's going.
I know. I try to be a little diplomatic, a little bit.
So we talked about MEGS.
Mm-hmm.
If you're up for it, so talk about you and Frankie. You have a little bit of the new what's the way it's called Neurovisor. So maybe you could talk a little about Neurovisor. It's using light and sound to kind of incorporating it into paranormal investigation.
Sure. So I'm so glad you asked. The Neurovisor is a device, yes, like you'd mentioned, Todd. It uses light and sound. It uses a combination of lights that kind of look like an electronic kaleidoscope in front of your eyes, and it uses sounds usually comprised of binaural beats and isochronic tones, which if anyone's ever used like binaural beats for like meditation, things like that, that's what it uses. Depending on what kind of program we run, we can basically change the way that we could change the level of brain waves in people's brains temporarily. And it's not like it's not this thing that really causes any sort of long-term effects or anything like that. It's actually a wellness device with a lot of research that backs it. It was actually based on an MIT study on people with Alzheimer's. Because they found that people with Alzheimer's usually have lower gamma wave activity in their brains. So Frankie said, hey, he came to me and said, hey, I've been using this thing in my practice because Frankie's a licensed therapist. He's a counselor. He does all sorts of stuff like that. And we were like, hey, let's try using this in the paranormal field. Let's look at brainwaves and how they how they're involved in the paranormal field, and let's see if we can do something with this. It's pretty cool because we also use an EEG device, so we can actually read people's brainwaves before and have like little before and after. And one thing that we like to do at the very beginning, if we have the time to do it with folks, is if we can do a scan of people's brains, usually the brainwaves will be like all crisscrossed. We could run a program that actually levels all those brainwaves out so that they're all evenly spaced and everything. And people find that it kind of levels the playing field in their mindset in a way where it's like, okay, now that everything's leveled out, now it's a lot easier for my brain to shift from one mindset to another and actually use that. It's almost similar to like doing like a grounding meditation before you do an investigation.
And we know, working with Frankie and you also, we've been to a couple of locations, and actually I think the first time that you ever used a neurovisor, we were at Peachfield Plantation. And this all into that fun phrase, timing and relevance, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had on investigation at the Peachfield Plantation.
Hold on.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So before you get to that, so I understand it. So the neurovisor is basically a way to ground somebody, get them psychologically level, so it opens up any psychic abilities that they might have that they didn't have prior.
I have the tendency to go off on tangents. It's actually not just that. We could also raise and lower specific brain waves as well. So, like, for example, one of the big brain waves that's associated with the paranormal is theta, another one is gamma, and another one is alpha. So gamma and theta are more related to like the experiential side of the paranormal. Alpha, which is like one that I'm a fan of, is actually closely associated with mediumship. Kind of like when people, when mediums communicate, and sometimes they kind of, for lack of better terms, sort of zone out, they're kind of jumping into those alpha waves. So the theory is if we could kind of raise those so-called paranormal brainwaves before we go into a location, we'll be more receptive to an experience.
Oh, wow. Aren't you afraid you're going to like stir or echo somebody?
A little bit. You know what? It's funny because like the effects are actually very subtle, especially if you use it intermittently. Like I use it almost daily now, so it's a little different for me. But it's like Todd and I don't know, Carmela, have you used it?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got ours. We actually just got ours on
Frankie was
Saturday
telling
night.
me.
So started doing. We've done it a couple times, but now we're going to try and start to use it on a regular basis, just for well-being, but also on the power.
The wellness aspect is huge. I love the wellness aspect of it, but it's the effects are very subtle at first. In fact, a lot of people kind of like use it, and then they almost forget that they used it by the time the night's over, and then they'll start putting two and two together. But like we had someone who came over to the Ritz Theater, and she'd used it, and she drove all the way from like a part of Pennsylvania right by Pittsburgh. It was her and her friend. They got an Airbnb, so they used the neurovisor during the investigation, and then they slept over at the Airbnb. Then they had to drive through Philadelphia traffic in the middle of the afternoon. If you ever,
it's not fun.
No,
it's not fun.
No, it's terrible. And this person already hates driving.
Right.
As they finally got out of Philadelphia, she looks over to her friends in the passenger seat and she goes, "You know what? I handled that a lot better than I thought I would have, especially after being up all night and all that." And her friend was like, "You know what? I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to jinx it, but yeah, that was much better than you usually do." And it has to do, I think it has a lot to do with using the neurovisor and playing with that neuroplasticity, which means kind of essentially easily jumping from one mindset to another instead of just getting stuck in one singular mindset. Because
I did.
Because because we've all been stuck in traffic. How hard is it to get out of that lousy mood that you're in?
Right.
You're always stuck in it, and then. But if there was a way you could kind of unstick your brain from there and kind of focus on something else, it's a good thing.
So,
Bless you.
have you guys come up with a way to measure, like you did with the MEGS? Have you come up with a way to measure the results of the neurovisor on how it changes people and how it levels them off?
So we do have a couple of EEG devices that we'll do like a 90-second to 2-minute reading. Sometimes we'll do it before and after, and we'll get a screenshot, and you could actually see the differences in the brainwave patterns. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's not
I
just a database. You actually have specific results from the EEG.
Yes. I'm sorry, Carmel.
I flatlined. Were you there when I flatlined?
I don't know if you were you there.
Frankie
I don't know
put
if
it
you
on
were
my
at the
head,
Ritz.
and
We were at
Frankie
the
and
Ritz.
Todd were talking, and Todd's like,
I was.
I don't think that's normal. All of them. All five.
We're like,
Oh,
is
boy.
it connected? Is the thing connected right?
He's like, "Are you alive?" I said,
Is that normal? I'm like,
Frankie
all her lines
the
are
whole
just
time.
Yeah.
going across.
But yeah, if we were to like make a MEGS thing out of that, those readings would be empirical observations because there's everything right there in front of you.
Right.
Wow.
But then when I got hooked up again to it, which shortly after that, and everything was just like normal, no peaks. Like I'm supposed to see and hear things, and I do, but it was showing that I had no ability to do.
Right. The medium,
Right. It was just all normal. It was just normal.
Well, it's also iffy to say specifically whether or not those readings will determine.
Well, maybe that's normal for me. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's normal. I don't know.
Right, but to say that certain brain waves at a certain level mean mediumship is
right.
a bit of a leap.
Right.
Understood.
No, yeah.
Well, it hasn't been proven yet or disproven, right?
Right.
Kind of like the experiment at the beginning of Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah. Which I love. So
on the card.
Yeah, right.
Oh, believe me, if I could sit there and shock people all day, I would.
As you pick out the gun.
Well, did you turn in your taser? You could.
I did turn that in. Yeah.
That being what's diabolical.
Yes. Yeah, it would have to be Diabolical Tricycle.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So I'm sorry, we got a little sidetracked.
Thank Chris. That's actually great, and I forgot about talking about. That's a great point that Chris brought up in a question, tying that into all the different, the brain waves and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Because then that goes to your first experience, I think, of using the neurovisor at the Peachfield Plantation.
Yes.
And Ron and Lourdes were there. They were doing a TDSE session and stuff like that. And then you weren't even in the room.
No.
Right? Go ahead. Tell the story. I'll let you tell it.
Okay. So very first time I used the neurovisor, it was at Peachfield Plantation. And, I used and kind of didn't think much of it afterwards. I did like this little 11-minute session and went about doing what we usually do, all of us having fun and doing all sorts of good stuff. And I was up on the second floor with Kim Geyer. Really excited to work with her because I know her, but I never get to do anything with her. So I was like, this is going to be cool. We're all excited. And she sets up her REM pod. I start putting stuff out. And the REM pod is like stuck. It's like going off on like its highest reading.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's like, should that be doing that? And I'm like, no, that doesn't look right. Of course, she looks over to me because I like to do a lot of the tech stuff. And so I'm like, all right, let's turn it off, turn it back on, put it down. It's doing the same thing. We move it. Same thing. So, all right, maybe let's just turn that off for now. And I'm thinking, you know what? If Ron and Lourdes are on the floor directly below us, maybe it has something to do with the Bluetooth speaker they're running because Bluetooth can set off REM pods and so on and so forth. And while we're talking about this, my wife, Shayna, she comes up, she knocks on the door trying to find me. And she goes, you have to come downstairs right now. And I'm like, okay. I'm in troubleshooting mode with the REM pod. I'm like, does someone need help with a piece of equipment or something like that?
Right.
And she goes, no, you need to come downstairs. So I'm like, okay. Bye, Kim. Maybe we'll get to work together again at some point in like another year or so.
Maybe next time.
And on the way down, she goes, yeah, we were running TDSE and we heard the name Rita. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And she goes, yeah. And then we heard happy birthday. I'm like, huh. So I come downstairs. I'm getting to it. I'm building up. Come downstairs, and and I get in there, and there doesn't seem to be a lot. It seems like whatever was happening, I caught the very tail end of it. Like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Unbeknownst to Todd, Carmelo, Ron, and Lourdes, and Frankie, and everyone else there, Rita is my grandmother's name, and that day was actually the anniversary of her birthday.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So,
And I
so
think
could that, having done the neurovisor, could that have kind of opened you up to, or just, in general, for her to come through your TDSE? We don't know. It just
Right.
But
right. We don't like my person.
It's odd that all that occurred with your first experience using the neurovisor.
Right. So my thought process is, and again, theories, I think a lot of it has to do with whatever is coming from our own brains. Not necessarily that we're creating it, but we're kind of like the antennas,
Right.
And we're projecting whatever it might be onto devices, equipment, whatever it might be, or just projecting it into the location that we're at. So going by that logic, if something was done to my brain where my gamma waves were increased, which have to do with a lot with the experiential side of the paranormal, then yeah, maybe that had something to do with it, because I never, and I don't want to say never, but I very, very rarely experience something personal when we conduct an investigation.
Right.
And I think that was probably the first time in a very, very long time that I got something like that.
Well, the bigger question is that any time while you were there, did you think about your grandmother, and did you think about her birthday?
I thought about my grandmother and her birthday on the way down there. And then once we all got together and it kind of becomes the investigator only sort of social event that it is, I stopped thinking about it.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a few others, like not personal, but we had some really good experiences with the neurovisor when we were at the manor. What, about a month ago now? Where it was myself, Frankie, and Trey Bader, who handles a lot of the video stuff over there. The three of us, we were each running a neurovisor. We were running the same session at the same time, sitting in one of the rooms on the second floor. Got our eyes closed, because that's what you do with the neurovisor. Our eyes are closed, the program is running, and we felt like footsteps around us, almost like someone walked up to Frankie and was kind of stopping. And then you heard those footsteps move from Frankie closer to me, and they stopped. And then you felt them move on the ground towards Trey, and then they stopped. Almost like something was walking around and checking us out.
Yeah, inspecting
right.
you.
Inspecting you.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that on your face?
Yeah, exactly. What are all these lights? What do you? But we all, once the session was over, we took them all off, and we were like, what was with those footsteps? It was someone tapping their feet on the ground. So none of us were doing that. We were sitting there stationary, and it felt like something was just walking around step by step, checking us out.
Wow.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I mean, listen, TDSE always gets a lot of the personal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Nothing to freak you out, Mary Beth. It's a neat experience to go through it. And
I'd almost say it opened you up a little bit to where maybe she had a door to come through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the thing, right?
You were thinking about it at that moment, and you were completely involved in something different, unless it was sitting in your subconscious somewhere, which is
very possible.
Very possible, but at the same time, is your subconscious strong enough at that point to overcome your consciousness and project?
Right. I mean,
I would have to say no at that point, and maybe it was just her coming through.
Right. And again, was it a matter of just using the device and sort of tuning the antenna,
Right, exactly. Boosting the power of the antenna like a ham radio.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd be curious, because I know, Chris, you talk about having a little bit difficulty sleeping and stuff like that. I would wonder if it would help you out, because there's a sleep Carmela, you were
I
talking.
started
She
today.
just started. She'll let you know, but
Yeah, that'd
I
be
sleep today.
So
One session in the morning, one session at night.
yeah, with the sleep
yeah,
session.
yeah, they have like specific times for them. They're actually really cool.
Right.
I'll tell you my wellness story with that one actually is that shortly after I retired and I got a neurovisor, there was this program called Burnout Recovery, and it was this 21-day program.
Ooh.
And it's the Burnout Recovery program. I swear by it now. But it's 21 days. About halfway through, I'm like, okay, I guess I feel a little better. I don't know. And by day 21, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I can relax. And I'm like,
Wow.
my head feel. Why does my head feel weird? Oh, it doesn't hurt.
Right?
It was like I was probably carrying a tension headache for years that I didn't even notice. So yeah, the Burnout Recovery was actually really good, and I think a lot of the wellness stuff on there is awesome.
Right.
I've been holding one for 10 years.
10 years.
10 years. Try that.
I've been holding one for 10 years. How long you guys been married? It's been longer than 10.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I'm in the dollar range. 10 years. Like 30, what are we, 35, 36 years together?
Something like that. It's all glorious.
Oh, it's 2025, so 35 years.
35 years together. So
Oh, I didn't blame you for that egg.
thank you. I appreciate that.
It's on
I'm
camera.
happy. It wasn't. I didn't cause the headache. Yay, Todd.
Not that one.
That's funny.
So
All right, Anthony. So now's the time to tell us where can they find you? Where can they find you and Frankie with Parasite doing these neurovisor experiments?
I brought notes.
That's all right, man. Spill it out.
Okay, so first off, I had to write it all down. All right, so first off, there's our website, www.parasiteprojectcorp.com. That's our main website, and we also have an affiliate link with Neurovisor on there because we do have a little contract with them now where we can actually sell them. Also, for social media like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, there's at the Parasite Project Corp. You can find us. That's where you can find me. Usually, if anywhere on social media, I'm usually on Facebook with through the Parasite Project page. For events, things like that, on our Facebook page, on our website, we have our calendar at the Ritz Theater, which is essentially our home location. Very cool place to be. We've got events. I think we have pretty much all 2026 already booked up.
Wow.
As far as available dates. Yeah, we've got some fun events. We're kicking off 2026 with a no tech night where it's kind of like going back to doing things with spiritualism, dowsing rods, pendulums, things like that, just to like kind of get people a little bit more in touch with, I guess, the more anecdotal end of things with paranormal investigation. But and if you come to the Ritz, we'll have a neurovisor there for folks to use. As far as things outside of the Ritz, we are going to be at the Krampus Festival in Asbury Park, New Jersey on December 5th. That's going to be a good time, and we'll be doing neurovisor sessions there. On December 13th, we're actually going to be in two separate places at once. Parasite is going to be at My Haunted Manor and Keystone Artisan Works for their event, doing the neurovisor. And then we're also going to be at the Columns Museum in Milford, Pennsylvania, with our friends Full Moon Paranormal. We'll also be running the neurovisor there. All three of those places are actually really awesome to check out if you haven't been there. On the December 14th, December 14th to the 15th, there's the Trenton Punk Rock Flea Market at the Cure Arena in Trenton, New Jersey. We're going to be doing some neurovisor stuff there.
That's 10 minutes,
and
15 minutes from us.
There you go. You have no excuses now.
I guess we're coming.
Well, listen, it's 15 minutes away, and it's also on the 14th and the 15th. So maybe both days, maybe one day.
What was that?
Ohio at all?
Not yet.
Right? Come on. It's lovely in Perrysburg.
maybe once the snow melts.
Yeah, true.
Snow.
So May.
Snow fucks everything up except Santa Claus. That's bullshit.
So May.
May. May to
No.
July.
Oh, yeah, right.
Mary Beth would like you to come to Minnesota.
Oh,
Minnesota. Okay.
Okay, that'll be June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, that'll
I'll be
be.
gone at the end of June through July and back in August.
So actually, what we could do is we could do Ohio and then come over to Minnesota and then back over to Ohio again.
Right?
Right?
Get them going and coming and going.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. But here's the thing. Also, with like the Neurovisor stuff, people are curious about it. We do have a permanent installation at the Samuel Miller Mansion and Keystone Artisan Works, both in Pennsylvania. So even if we're not there, as long as the staff is there, they'll be able to get you set up and give you that experience.
Very cool. Both great locations. And
Question for you guys.
Mhm.
Have you ever thought of talking to Steve and Pam Barry and seeing about doing it at Gettysburg Bash?
Yeah, doing an event at Gettysburg, like a room.
We haven't yet. We've only just started doing a lot of the Paracon stuff, just because my schedule was always insane. But we'll probably have to get in touch with them about that because I had a great time at Gettysburg last year, and I want to do it again next year.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that would be a great location to do it and get you the Neurovisor out there to for other teams
Absolutely.
to potentially use it and see how it how it helps how it works in investigations to help them other teams out and stuff like that.
Yeah,
We can
yeah. Listen, just strap them to people's heads and turn them loose on a haunted battlefield.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right?
That'd be it. Ooh, and then we can videotape.
Actually, that's pretty cool to use it there and then see if
What happened?
like I know you've seen and had experience, but like to see if that opens people up to more
Mhm.
experiences at
Because that would be the perfect place to do that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree.
No, I
Yeah,
agree.
we're gonna have to get in touch with them about that, though.
Absolutely. So
Because coming from somebody that's sensitive, I think there's a lot of stuff that gets missed at Gettysburg
Mhm.
that people that would get opened up would. I mean, shit, just driving around the battlefield during the daytime,
Mhm.
Audra and I were just picking up crazy stuff. Imagine somebody doing a neuralizer and then going to Sachs Bridge and doing an investigation. Imagine the
Right.
experiences and possible evidence that you can capture, knowing that it's actually there and when to record and how to record, right?
Right, and that's the whole goal of it, right? To, like I said before, sort of fine tune that antenna for everyone to kind of get them open a little bit more to the whole experience.
absolutely.
Maybe we'd actually have some. Oh, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Never mind. We'll stop right there. I was gonna say some of those websites might actually be proactive.
Yeah.
I didn't say it. I just skimmed the top.
Did you get a kick, Audrey? Did you give him a kick?
No, she didn't.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, right.
Anthony was going to it. I could see it in his chuckle. Awesome. Well, that is fantastic. Is there any other podcast that you guys are going to be on? Do you want to talk about?
Yes, we are actually going to be on Anthony Simonelli's and Jenny Colucci's podcast. The name, unfortunately, me being a horrible guest, is I forgot the actual name of it, but it's going to be tomorrow.
Seekers Chronicle. Seekers Chronicle.
That's it.
Then it's actually Anthony. It's actually Anthony
Jenny and Kim. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll be on that one tomorrow, talking a little bit more about Neurovisor stuff and the Ritz Theater and all of our fun, all of our shenanigans.
Very cool.
That is phenomenal.
Very cool. Looking forward to it. And thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
Seeing you again.
Thank you, everybody, for jumping in and watching. Guys, get out to these places that Anthony told you about. Get out there, meet Frankie, meet Anthony. Guys, you will not meet two better gentlemen in the paranormal field that are just great, phenomenal, nice guys. Honestly, and there's a part of me, brother of badges. I mean, I wasn't full time, but I understand exactly what you went through. Just the part time stuff that I did was just, oh God, I can imagine full time some of the stuff that you guys went through, guys. And thank you for your service.
No, thank you. Right back at you. Thank you for the appreciation.
Oh, no worries, brother. We
love you, Anthony.
Yeah,
I know you do. Thank you.
Tendency to, and I'm not taking anything away from our soldiers, but we have a big tendency of constantly saying thank you for your service to our soldiers. But guys, the guys that go out in blue, that blue line is out there every night, and they get to see the worst of the worst every day of the week, and they still come to stuff like this after 20 years of service with a smile on their face. And you want to talk about PTSD, guys? That is one thing that will definitely put you through it. So the badges, my entire family have all been badges. I was a part-time badge for a while, and guys, what these guys go through on a daily basis definitely deserve to be recognized, and they deserve the honor. So don't forget to thank your law enforcement for their service. Don't ever forget that.
Thank you.
Oh, not a problem at all, brother. Get out to see Frankie. Get out to see Anthony. Maniacal Tricycle. That's the third time, Ron. I got 3. I got 3, and I didn't screw it up. Guys, if you want to go out and check out the Neurovisor and see what it can do with you and see if it can open up and spark your antenna, you can start receiving things that you didn't receive before. Be careful what you do receive, because sometimes you're not ready for what you do receive. But at the same time, get out there and do that. Check out the Neurovisor with Anthony and Frankie. Guys, make sure you get out there, check out Parasite, and make sure that you talk to Anthony about MEGS. MEGS is a really fantastic way of putting data to the observation and evidence that you capture to show those skeptics that it's not just paranormal, but it's actually out there. Paranormal is normal, but there's only one way to do that. You got to get out there, and you got to stay haunted. All right, guys, we will see you next week. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Night.